Hi everyone, I'm Seth Levine of First Things Foundation's field worker here in Sierra Leone, and today I have an exciting update to share with everybody today, and that is that we are declaring our project with Moijueh's Carpentry shop a successful project. Now, as a brief history of what this project is, this was initiated by Maximus Magyar along with our Impresario, Lance Moijueh, almost a year and a half ago at this point. And the project was very simple, and that is that we were going to help them purchase a table saw, which is a very valuable piece of equipment here in Kailahun, to help their business generate a little bit more revenue, but to support their families and help them grow over time. Now, shortly after it was initiated, talks began that I was more than likely going to end up having to inherit this project because at the time we had about 7 projects, active projects in Sierra Leone, and only one senior field worker that was actually taking care of all of it or managing it. And it was just far too much for any one person. Now, I ended up inheriting the project right as I was entering phase 2 of our work. And shortly after that, I actually had to leave Sierra Leone on medical leave. And whenever I was on medical leave, I was able to visit my church, St. Joseph's Orthodox Parish in Houston, Texas, and they helped me raise 1 second. Oh wait, sorry, kids at my window. It's a frequently occurring thing. Now, what I was saying is that my church in Houston, Texas, St. Joseph's Orthodox Church, was able to help me raise about $1,400 necessary. That includes our overhead necessary to help them purchase a table saw. And whenever I returned to Sierra Leone in August, we had the money sent here and we were able to purchase it in early September. Now, there were delays in its installation. Soon after we actually purchased the table saw, it became very apparent to me that Lanston was incredibly timid about installing it in his shop. He has an open air shop and he was scared that it was going to be stolen from him in the middle of the night, which is a valid concern because here in Sierra Leone, theft is just a very common problem, and that is a valuable piece of equipment, like I said. So his solution was for us to help him renovate the actual building of his shop. Now, we try to do things in discrete steps, so I really didn't want to have a table saw that we had helped them purchase not be in use before we actually moved on to another engagement. And I insisted that we find an alternative solution, and that ended up being that we were going to mount it into the ground using concrete rebar and a bunch of welded together scrap metal, and that works. The saw has been in use for, well, since November, actually. I did consider doing another engagement with them to help them renovate the structure like that they're in. It didn't really line up with the initial goals of our engagement. We were really just trying to help them purchase tools, but because it would help them keep tools a little bit more secure, we thought it might be worthwhile. Unfortunately, I became incredibly busy around November because around that time we actually started having a lot of problems transferring money to Sierra Leone. There are some issues with our bank accounts that we're still trying to resolve right now. And I had several other projects to work on. We have a new field worker that arrived, and I was just never able to get around to it. So a few weeks ago, I went and talked to Lance Moijueh. I explained to him our situation, that we're kind of trying to close a couple projects at this point, just because we don't really want to be overburdening future field workers. And he was still very happy that we had helped him in understanding of our current situation. So in some ways, this is a little bit bittersweet of a project for me, well, at least declaring it a success, because I had hoped to help him with a separate engagement. But I don't think it's necessary. They are generating plenty of revenue from this table saw, and it will hopefully allow them to, well, renovate their own shop at some point. So that's what I have to share with everybody today. Thanks. Bye.